Right, we should be live. Intro.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Top Hat Gaming Animal here. And later tonight we shall be playing Mario 64 live on twitch.tv/Top Hat Chat. But before we get to that, I will quickly introduce my co-hosts. We have Mr. Street and we have the almighty Orb. Yeah. So, our point of discussion tonight.
Are we out? Mm-hmm. I'll fix it.
Oh, no. What, are we having technical difficulties?
It's alright. It's just the audio sync's out, which is why we have Orb there to check. So, yeah, I can fix this. It just takes 2 seconds.
Okay, so yes, we are talking all strange at the moment, but it will be fixed any second. Sega Solar System. This is the problem with doing stuff live.
You would have well cut out the middle of that as well. It just would look like you were swearing loads.
No, I'll just keep saying live because we are live, and now is it working?
Not come up yet.
It will do.
Okay, let's see. Are we live and are we working? La 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 la.
Yeah, we're in. There
in,
we go.
finally.
Fixed.
Oh no, that's embarrassing, isn't it?
It happens.
But yes, we are here to discuss the history of the Sega Solar System, because I don't know if you knew this, but Sega name a lot of their consoles after planets, in regards to the project's working names.
I've seen your thumbnails pop up that have vaguely explained
like
it.
Sega Saturn, they've all got planets attached to them.
Dreamcast.
We will get to that. We will get to that.
Megadrive.
All of the others.
We'll get to that. Well, so just imagine, yes, there's this world where there's a solar system, okay?
It's quite hard to imagine, but you'll get there.
And before there was this solar system, it all started with something called a Big Bang. Prior to this Big Bang, there was other things in existence, such as the Sega SG-1000. Are you familiar with that? The Sega SG-1000?
No.
It was the first ever Sega games console made to compete directly against the Nintendo Famicom in Japan back in 1983.
Okay, what does the SG stand for?
Sega, I suppose. I can't remember. It stands for something.
I know. I'm just going to vaguely try and ask you questions that I have a feeling you won't be able to answer.
I can't remember. Probably Sega Games.
Sega. Yeah, it could be Sega Games.
Yeah, but the SG-1000, it's kind of halfway between a Nintendo Entertainment System and Atari 2600 in terms of graphics and capabilities.
Okay.
So, in Japan, the SG-1000 received two kind of sequel systems, the SG-2000 and the SG-3000. And do you know what we call the SG-3000 in the West? Sega Master System.
Okay.
Is that one of these?
This is the Sega Master System, known in Japan as the Sega SG-3000. Yes.
Okay.
It's the same shape, but it's grey. Looks slightly different, but it takes the cartridges, as you can see.
That's a lovely noise.
And also the Who cards as well. So you can put cartridge games and Who card games too.
I never had a Who card game.
No. Have you got any? We won't get them.
I do have one around here somewhere.
But they do exist.
Yes.
So yeah.
There's one just down there next to the Action Me playing that little red sleeve.
We might get that out later.
And obviously there was the sequel system as well.
Which is quite aptly named the Master System 2.
And they are pretty much exactly the same thing, just different shapes. This one had Alex Kidd built into it, I believe, a lot of the Sonic.
Yeah.
This had Hang On built into it, I believe.
That's the one I had.
Yes, this was very popular here, wasn't it, in the UK? Extremely popular system.
Where do the Who cards go?
This one is less advanced than the original. Like the original, it's got an AV out.
Oh.
This one doesn't. Which is ridiculous, isn't it, when you think about it? They took the AV out of it, and it doesn't take Who cards.
That's what I was saying. Where do they go? But you just told me.
Yeah, what, the Who cards?
Yeah,
it doesn't take it. Like I said, it's crap in comparison to the first one.
Okay.
So it's weird that everyone had the crap Master System when there's a good Master System.
Okay, right. There might be some clanging as I get rid of these.
So this was prior to the Big Bang. Still prior to the Big Bang, we got the Sega Megadrive. Can you pass me one of those?
Yes, this is actually the sequel. This is the Megadrive 2 for a reason that we'll get to.
Yes, the Megadrive and the Megadrive 2 in America are called the Phil Collins Genesis instead over there. Did you know that?
Did he endorse it himself? Or?
He must have done. Why else would you give it such a stupid name? It certainly wasn't the Genesis of Sega consoles, now was it? We've just clearly illustrated there was lots of Sega consoles before the Mega Drive and the Mega Drive 2. So
is there anything important to say about the Mega Drive?
It's kind of like It's what you think of still to this day when you think of Sega. What about you? Would you agree with that? You think of the Mega Drive if you think of Sega?
I'm kind of a bit torn because I had both at the same time, both systems, so I kind of closely associated with both.
Lucky you. I can see what you mean though, because again, like the Master System was, it could have just been because it was pre-era for me. Like it wasn't something that was on my radar.
I loved the Master System when I was a child. All the poor children had it, and it gave me a reason to visit them.
Nice. That makes sense.
I'm serious. I'm not joking.
Okay, right. So that's the Mega Drive. We've covered that. What is next?
Now we have had the Big Bang, and we've got to the era of the Sega Solar System where they name their projects after planets. So let's start with the first planet from the Sun, Mercury. So Project Mercury was this.
This.
Are you familiar with this orb?
Yes.
What is it?
It's Game Gear.
What's a Game Gear?
Terrible.
Portable.
And
And what colour?
yes, it's a portable Master System essentially.
Yeah.
Enhancements. It's got a similar library. You can actually get an adapter you slot in the top of it, so you can literally put Master System games straight into it.
Oh, I never had that.
I own one of those too. And you've got a TV tuner for it too, so you can watch television on it as well.
And
Which you wouldn't be able to do anymore because of the digital switchover, which is not news anymore, but that's kind
Although
of what we do.
I'm pretty sure you can stick a TV tuner in it and then like play like stuff like Xbox 360 games and stuff on the screen.
really?
I think so. Yeah, I've seen it done.
That would
That's
be
quite
cool.
cool.
Really
Okay,
cool.
so is there anything else to say about the Game Gear other than the fact that it was the Sega Mercury?
The Sega Mercury. I didn't really enjoy the Game Gear. I had it in its prime, and I just thought it was a bit rubbish because of the battery. Just made it a bit pointless.
Battery was
It
awful.
kind of reminds me of a Nintendo Switch in many ways, in the fact that I own one in its prime, but I don't have much use for it because
It's similarly sized. Yeah.
I'm the same colour as well.
Yeah.
So put the Mercury down.
Mercury goes
So
away.
before
Before we move on,
okay, yes.
someone brought up, Andrea Woodvine brought up that they're not Who cards because they're for Hudson.
That is true, yes.
They're my cards,
My cards.
But they're essentially the same
How do I
thing.
spell my card?
as in my
What?
M-Y.
It's literally
cards.
spelled M-Y
Yeah.
cards. Okay, I don't think I can contrive that into a different pronunciation. Can you should we call them moi cards?
No,
My cards.
I don't know. You'll figure it out.
I'll
By the end
find
of the
a way,
video,
yes.
that's your job. Next.
The second planet, Venus. So Project Venus didn't come around until 1995.
And it was this.
Yes, are you familiar with this?
I am familiar with it. I never had one.
Yeah, the Nomad.
Or as I like to refer to it as the Sega Gypsy.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah, the Sega Nomad. There's not really a mass amount to say about this. It suffered with the same poor battery life as
Worse battery life.
the Game Gear.
It's the portable version of the Mega Drive, which only got released in North America. It does have an AV out, though, if you're aware of that, so you can play it on the television as well. Like, so it basically is a Nintendo Switch, literally. It was a handheld home console hybrid. So,
Which is interesting. Any notable games?
well, the whole Mega Drive library. So,
So,
lots of
yes.
notable games.
Yeah, that was intentional.
Yeah, so I don't really know where to even start with that.
Yeah.
So the next one in the solar system,
Oh, sorry. Apparently, there's no reset button on the Nomad.
is there not?
Power.
I've never really understood the point of a reset button and an on-off switch anyway.
It's a soft reset, isn't it?
To be fair, that is completely true. No reset button. Anyway, next. This is heavier.
Okay.
And this is why we didn't have our Mega Drive up earlier, because it is still attached.
Right. Most people on the information superhighway will inform you that there was no Project Earth. That's the general consensus going around. But after a little bit of digging, I've recently found out that's lies. If you look at the Sega Saturn boot up logo, because obviously Sega Saturn is the Project Saturn, you'll see the Saturn in the logo. You may notice if you power on the Mega CD, you had a Mega CD, didn't you? What does it look like, the boot up screen? Can you remember?
No.
You've got the planet Earth with Sega CD written in front of it.
It does look
It's been a
like that.
long time.
We'll see it at some
You've
point soon.
literally got planet Earth with Sega CD written in front of it. So that would lead people to make the inference that the Mega CD is in fact Project Earth, which it kind of is. However, it's kind of as a result of Project Earth, like a spin-off to the original Project Earth. And I'm covering this in depth on a video on my channel tomorrow.
Wonderful.
So basically, the Sega Mega CD was originally going to be called the Sega Mega LD.
Mega LD.
Yes, can you guess what that would have stood for?
Longitudinal
The
That is-
Sega Mega Laserdisc.
Oh, that's a mouthful.
Well, it's no different to this Sega Mega Compact Disc, is it really?
Yeah, but it just...
So it's going to. Are you familiar with the Laserdisc format?
Yeah, well, I thought Laserdiscs were huge.
They are. They're like vinyl records, only CDs.
So how was that going to fit in that?
Exactly, that's why it got cancelled, because it would have needed the
Sorry,
most
how did it get-
ridiculous.
How did they get past like the idea of concept then? How did they like come to it and go, let's make a game, let's make
Because
a console that plays lazy?
Back in 1983, Sega signed a deal with the company Pioneer, who made Laserdiscs, and they were manufacturing arcade machines which contained Laserdiscs in them. Games
Right.
like Astron, Belt, Cobra Command, stuff like that.
Not too many spoilers.
So further on from that, in 1989, they signed a deal with Pioneer to make a Laserdisc add-on for the Megadrive to compete against the PC Engine CD at the time.
Lovely.
However, it got thrown out the window because, as you said, the concept of a ridiculous Laserdisc add-on is ridiculous. Apart from that, it would have been outrageously expensive, and it wasn't the most reliable form of optical media either.
No.
So it got cancelled. However, there was something still happened. We got the Mega CD eventually instead, and Pioneer ended up releasing their own Laserdisc-based system known as the Pioneer Laser Active, and that's actually got an add-on what allowed you as a modular add-on you inserted in the system, which allowed you to play Mega CD games, Mega Drive games, PC Engine games, and PC Engine CD games. So it's in a way in 1993 that would have been the best system to own.
Do you own one?
I do not.
That is one that is on the list.
It is.
It would have been if you weren't quitting collecting, but that's a story for another
next week,
time.
yes.
There we go.
So what's the next planet after Earth in the solar system?
Mars.
Yes, so
Oh.
it would be Mars.
This one's light again, but it's getting further back.
This is Project Mars. Are you familiar with Project Mars?
Yes,
Yes.
32X.
What do we think of Project Mars?
Can I do it in a sound effect?
You may if you want.
I'm not going to do it in a sound effect because I didn't have one ready.
Sorry.
I never had any experience with it, so I don't. All I've seen is the AVGN
Okay.
review
So
and a few other little bits.
I think
and
this
bobs.
says soon we're going to have a 3-man 32X stream. Would you agree?
Well, yeah, I'd be down to try it
It's
out.
got some amazing games, isn't it? Like Knuckles Chaotix, the greatest Sonic the Hedgehog game of all time.
Yeah. So this is Mars.
This is Mars, yes.
Anything else to add about Mars, or just
We will get back to it, actually.
it's cold, but it's deceptive because
don't-
all throughout my entire childhood, I always thought
Yeah.
Mars was going to be hotter than Earth because it was red.
True. There was Project Jupiter after that, and we can't pick up Project Jupiter because Jupiter's just a big ball of gas and we'd fall straight through it. So for that reason,
Just kind of like the actual Jupiter.
Yes.
The actual Jupiter actually is the same as the Sega Jupiter.
Yeah, you
in
can't
the
touch
fact
it.
that you can't touch it. It doesn't really
exist.
exist.
It was just conceptual, a bit like the Sega Mega LD. It's something that doesn't exist.
Right.
It's the Saturn in an earlier form. So basically the Sega Saturn, but it took cartridges instead. That's what a Sega Jupiter basically is.
Which to me seems pretty pointless, bearing in mind they'd already worked out a disc system in the Mega CD.
We've discussed this before on the channel. Basically, Sega of America and Sega of Japan didn't communicate very well, and a lot of the time they would end up just competing directly against each other rather than working with each other.
They're terrible people.
So that's why there's so many things that don't make much sense when it comes to Sega. So next, after Jupiter, Saturn. Do we really need to explain what that is?
What's the Saturn? I've never heard of a Sega Saturn.
neither.
That seems really strange.
It is quite an obscure system.
But
really.
we have one.
We do, of course.
Yeah, this incredibly rare thing that nobody's ever heard of. Here you go.
I love the Sega Saturn.
It's so pretty.
The Sega
makes
Saturn
sense.
is possibly one of the best consoles that I've
It's my favourite.
never played when it was released. I think, actually.
Yeah, it is my favourite system. I never played when it was released. Definitely, 100%.
My brother's
And
friend
that
had one when it
yeah.
came out.
It's
and that
amazing.
includes the Neo Geo and the PC Engine, and this is my one.
It's
Yeah,
better
yeah.
than the FM Town Smarty.
Oh my god, it's amazing, this system.
Considerably less of dodgy games, though.
No, you can get the same game on this as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can get Pooley Rula for the Saturn.
Oh, can
Oh,
you?
that one.
Yes,
Is that- yeah,
yes,
okay.
you can. Oh, you meant the really dodgy games? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I forgot all about those.
Apparently, Nosy 1964 says Mega LD exists on the Laser Active.
Well, yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yeah,
There's
essentially,
actions, games exist, but it was meant to be a full.
The
add-on
system
for the Megadrive.
doesn't
The
exist
system doesn't
itself.
exist. But there are Laserdisc games developed by Sega for the Pioneer Laser.
You can make an argument that it exists in that form, but not the Sega form.
Console.
So yeah.
So the next planet past Saturn in our solar system is Neptune. There was indeed a Project Neptune. You can explain this one then, if you can give it a try.
Well, that's the Dreamcast, right? Was that?
No.
No? I thought that was Neptune.
No, the Neptune was intended to be, and these exist in some capacity, at least they were brought to trade shows and stuff, a standalone 32X.
Oh, I did know that.
So it was the standalone 32X. It was going to be the Sega Neptune, I believe.
That would be cool to get.
It was. It would be very cool.
So you can buy these?
No.
They're like stupidly rare.
They pretty much don't exist.
Like,
I don't think working ones ever existed.
So it would be essentially like trying to buy a broken dev kit. Like that's how rare they would be.
I think just shells existed, and that's about as far as it actually went.
See, that would be an interesting thing to have on a shelf.
It would.
But you're not a collector.
No.
So you'd never
Definitely
buy
not.
one.
Past that, we have Uranus. And there is no Project Uranus because apparently the name's too immature. That's the rumour anyway. But
not yet.
Yeah, but it wouldn't surprise me.
You've been doing some digging.
Yeah,
it wouldn't surprise me, considering the level of depth that you go into with your research on your main channel, that there's a chance that if it ever was a concept, you will find it eventually.
I will find out what the Uranus is, but at the moment we don't know.
You're going to stare straight in. You're going to stare straight into Uranus.
Yes,
and try and figure out exactly what's going on with it.
Yes, I agree. Pluto. The final planet in the solar system was not actually a planet at all anymore.
No,
it's a dwarf planet.
Yeah, dwarf planet.
Which I find amusing that they reclassified it, because did you know Pluto was the only planet discovered in the United States?
Really?
So now they haven't discovered any planets in the colonies.
Good.
In the colony.
They haven't. Nothing. They've never discovered a planet in the colonies. Not a real one. What's in our solar system anyway? No. Maybe one of those planets what's so far away we don't actually know really exists.
Well, we know it exists,
but we can't see it. That's the difference.
No. Well, we can see it, but just with giant telescopes.
Yes, the Pluto. These do exist. They've actually been discovered in the wild at boot sales and stuff. There's about 2 have been discovered ever. The Pluto is basically just the Sega Saturn in a completely different shape with a built-in modem. So that's what a Sega Pluto is.
Honestly, the fact that they've turned up at boot sales amazes me. Honestly, I went for a stage. I don't know whether I've ever sent you any, but I went for a stage of going through these kind of obscure boot sale finds and stuff, and some of the things that you find are ridiculous.
The person as well who found one of the Plutos at a boot sale actually commented on my Pluto video as well. He says if I ever want to interview him. Okay, so maybe I will interview KidVid666 at some point down the line on the channel, because he got trolled to buggery as well over that.
That's a real shame.
Why would you get trolled for that?
Because he was trying to sell it at one point, and he was asking for a lot of money, and people didn't like it. He was asking for a lot of.
It's ultra rare.
How much is a lot of money?
Basically, he was putting it up for auction and stuff, and then pulling the auction. It all got confusing because people were putting in troll bids, the same sort of thing you normally get, like just a load of bull crap. Past that, we got past the solar system, so this would be, where would it? If it's not a solar system,
Apocalyptica.
It'd be an Andromeda or something. The next solar system.
Project Alpha Centauri.
Well, no, Andromeda's not. That's the next galaxy, isn't it? Not the next. What's that? What proxy is that? What's our neighbouring galaxy? Do you know?
I can't remember off the top of my head. I'm not inebriated enough to access that part of my mental cortex.
Okay, pass the Dreamcast.
Can you pass the Dreamcast?
Andrea Woodvine also says you could argue that Sega only named consoles after Roman named planets.
What, the ones that were actually released? Yes, suppose so.
I quite like that.
And again, this is the anticlimax on this one was amazing.
I have a Dreamcast.
It is an anticlimax in general.
What, the system?
Yeah.
The end of the Sega. This isn't the last Sega system, though.
No.
The last Sega system wasn't released until 2005.
What was that?
The Sega Bina, which was the sequel to the Sega Pico.
That sounds offensive.
It does.
I don't even know why. What does that mean?
We'll talk about it afterwards.
Join us on stream and we'll explain why that's an offensive name.
Yeah. But yeah, the Sega Bina was the sequel to the Sega Pico.
I can't believe you're saying it's the Sega Bina.
It was.
What was it?
The Sega Bina was the sequel to the Sega Pico. and they were consoles for small children.
Oh.
So they were like kiddie consoles, so like educational consoles, basically.
Right. Why did we not bring up the Sega Pika before we talked about how it was the...
Because it wasn't part of a solar system.
Oh, I see. So you
So
just
we're only talking about
it.
the solar system systems.
Okay.
But there are more cancelled systems we can cover briefly, actually.
We've got some minutes.
Yep, there's a few more we've missed out. We've got the Bina and the Pico, which were systems what existed. And then on top of that, there was actually a few Sega projects named after moons of planets as well. There's a Sega Janus, a Sega Titan, and apparently a Sega Moon as well.
Sega Moon.
Sega Moon.
Sega Moon sounds... Sega Moon.
Isn't it? Sega Moon just sounds like they're ripping off Sailor Moon.
Yeah.
Sega Moon kind of sounds like the ugly chick at a convention.
Hi, my name's Sega Moon.
It's Sega Moon. And she's dressed up as Sailor Moon.
But anyway, Sega Moon was apparently the Laserdisc arcade system. That was the Project Moon. That was Project Moon. Project Titan, again, that was another arcade board. What's actually called, I think, something like the Titan TV or something along those lines.
So something
Sega
crap.
Titan TV. It's one of the arcade boards. Was Project Titan. Project Janus was a tablet made for drawing as well.
Huh.
A drawing
So
tablet.
they're still trying. Well, they were.
That was obviously must have been around the Saturn era because that's Janus is the moon of Saturn.
So they kept on trying.
They did. Two I forgot to cover. There was some talk many years ago of there being an add-on for the Sega Saturn known as the 64X as well.
Inventive.
Yes, which was based on Sega. Now I'm getting because I don't know enough about arcade. The Sega Model 3 boards or whatever they're called.
Oh yeah.
Where so basically the 64X would allow you to play games like Virtua Fighter 3 and games like that on the Saturn. At the same time, Sega of Japan were developing the Sega Dreamcast as well. Sega of America were developing an ultra-powerful console at exactly the same time, known as the Sega Black Belt, which also got canned in favour of the Sega Dreamcast.
They cancelled a lot of consoles.
They have.
The thing is that actually, like, interestingly enough, that would have really eaten into their profits because they would have had to have gone through quite a lot of development for there to be any information out there at all.
They just wasn't communicating. Sega of Japan and Sega of America, they were two completely different entities and just...
Well, it just sounds stupid. Like, you're right.
Well, let's just say they stopped making consoles for a reason.
Well, yeah.
Well, that's kind of that's what kind of me and all were about to say. Like, people are always talking about the reason why Sega failed, and that's got to be part of the reason.
They were idiots. We can see all of this stuff we've gone through.
Yeah, they really sort of bombed when it come to actual like hardware past what you know and love.
Yeah, it seems like they spent more time naming their consoles than they did actually thinking about them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I'm still loving this idea that they developed this whole console to play Laserdiscs, and then eventually it must have got some way down the line, and then one went, "Those Laserdiscs are really big though, aren't they?" And they went, "Oh, we're not going to get that in the box, are we?" It's like, no, it's like, scrap it, we'll start again.
The thing is, again, they must have got a fair way through it, bearing in mind Pioneer decided to finish it off.
Right, that's what I mean. So,
do you know what I mean?
Oh, that's...
It's like the Nintendo PlayStation thing.
Yeah, it's a similar story, only it's got a happier ending, I suppose.
But with the Sony PlayStation, like, again, they went through a lot of development to the fact they had a prototype for it. And that's why Sony kind of went, we'll carry on.
Yeah, it's the same sort of thing,
PlayStation. Isn't it? But that's what I said. They would have had to have gone through a fair amount of development. Like there probably is one sitting in a warehouse somewhere that physically exists.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Do you know what I mean? Like they would have had to have had an almost physical physical something.
They would have had something like we were saying to take to trade shows or and other things. They would have had a working prototype in some fashion.
I just love the idea of it. It's such a ridiculous thing, which I wish existed. Like I wish I had an add-on for my Megadrive that played laser discs. It's so...
Yeah.
No, I don't.
How big
I don't
would
think
it be?
I've ever played it.
Well, a laserdisc is going to be like this big. So if you look at something like this, right?
You got to get a Megadrive.
No, actually, yeah, we'll get them. No, we want something disc-based. So if we go with a Saturn, because that's the we'll go with the Mega CD,
which is already giant.
So that's this big, and the discs to go in it are this big. Yes?
Yes. Yeah.
So if you were to equate that out and go, well, if laser discs are this big, then what, the system itself would have been this big?
I would gather so, or close to, if not.
So it would have been huge. It would have been like, you could have sat 4 Mega Drives on top of it.
It would have been
potentially. I mean, I know I'm just talking about conjecture here, but just upping the size slightly. If you had a record player, you could have like record player size. It would have fit 2 Mega Drives on top of that.
But this is
easy.
already really heavy, isn't it? So imagine if it, imagine it was a Laserdisc machine instead.
So I'm interested in how much space is inside one of these.
And this didn't come out till 1993. They started working on the Laserdisc technology in 1989, I believe. So the same year, the Pioneer Laser Active came out as well. Yeah. They came out the same year in the end.
Andrea Woodbine, who's being very informative today, says there is a Laserdisc player with a Mega Drive module.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about, the Pioneer Laser Active.
Oh, is that what that
is?
is?
It, yeah.
Yeah, how much do they go for? Because again, you said the same thing.
I had a quick browse on eBay today, and it looks like the Laser Actives are worth around, unboxed, about £300. But then you have to pay.
Unboxed isn't bad.
But then you have to pay hundreds for each module, and they're different modules. So you need a box to insert in to play the Mega CD and Mega Drive games, and then you need to get a different separate box to play the PC Engine and the PC Engine CD games.
Wow.
And I'm assuming they're going to be considerably rarer than the actual...
I think they're all worth that. They're probably worth like 300 each if I was to make a wild guess. And then Laserdiscs, I believe all the Laserdisc games are a fortune as well, because they're Laserdisc, and Laserdisc expensive technology. So it's not really... You'd have to be... In this day and age, if you want to get into the Pioneer Laser Active scene, you've got to be pretty wealthy or pretty much a spendthrift of some degree.
Well, to be fair, if you just sold your copy of Mega Man X3, you could just go and buy one and all the modules.
Do you think I should potentially do that? I could.
No, you love your Mega Man too much.
I do.
But you could.
Something called the JVC Mega Drive.
The JVC XI, that is one we didn't touch on. That's reminding me of a few other Sega consoles that were released. So
We've got 3 minutes, so do them quickly.
The JVC XI, it was just a system made by JVC what played Mega CD games. So basically JVC, for some reason, was allowed to release their own Mega Drive, Mega CD.
There will be a good story behind that.
Yeah.
We'll find it.
And that's reminding me, there's also the Wonder Mega as well.
Yeah. Just come up on the chat.
The Wonder Mega was a system which allowed you to play Mega Drive games on an aeroplane on the screens.
What?
So the airlines would carry Wonder Megas on board in Japan, so you could play Mega Drive games on flights.
Yeah. It's another one of those stupid things. Like there's isn't there a Nintendo one specifically for hotels?
Not what, Hotel Mario?
No. I'm sure there's a system that is specifically designed for hotels. You put coins in it.
I'm not familiar with it.
I'm going to have to try and find this, and we can discuss it.
Do you mean the Player's Choice machine, by any chance?
No, that's an arcade machine.
Yeah.
I want one of those, to be fair.
Yeah. But yeah, lots of Sega consoles. I think there's probably are ones we've missed because there's just so many, aren't there? But Sega, they just made so many consoles, cancelled so many consoles. It's endless.
Mega Jet, apparently that one's called on the plane.
Oh, okay. So what was the Wonder Mega then?
The Wonder Mega was a screenless Nomad, apparently.
And what was that for? We got a screenless Nomad, just the Mega Drive.
It was a Nomad with a reset button.
Apparently, someone raised a very good point. It's like, obviously, no one's pressing Laserdiscs anymore. And because of that, and Laserdiscs are really prone to rot, apparently, there will be no Laserdiscs left soon. So everything needs backing up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is this emulatable?
I don't know. I've got to look into it still.
Because that would be an interesting one to see if it's emulatable.
Yeah.
Because I'm assuming the file size would be quite large.
Because my research has all gone into Project Earth rather than the Pioneer Laser Active itself.
But maybe next week.
Yeah, I possibly may very well make a deep video all about the Pioneer Laser Active.
I think that's worth doing.
If I don't do it this week, I will do it at some point soon.
Was it the Wonder Mega you didn't know what it was?
Yes.
So apparently the Wonder Mega is not a screenless Nomad, and another person says the Wonder Mega is a Japanese version of the XI.
Okay.
It's exactly the same as the XI, just different regional
Just
name.
another... okay.
It's a very confusing set of names.
Yeah. In fact, there were some more I forgot to cover. There's also the SC3000, which is a Sega microcomputer, which plays Sega SG-1000 games.
Year of release?
80s.
80s, late, early?
Mid 80s.
Okay, there we go.
I just got another one. There's also the Amstrad PC. So Alan Sugar released a Sega console. So it was an Amstrad what played Megadrive games.
Oh, really? I've never heard of that.
So there's a British Sega exclusive console.
We probably could have done with an extra 15 minutes on this topic.
There's so many. Like they're just popping out my brain. All these ridiculous Sega systems.
Yeah, no. To be fair, there's quite a lot. But again, we can come back to this on the Twitch chat.
Yeah, we'll just carry it over.
Because right now we are heading over to Twitch. If you're watching this retrospectively, then you might have missed us. But if not, come and check us out. We're over on Twitch, twitch.tv/Top Hat Chat. Anybody that is here now, come over and find us. It takes less than a minute to set up an account. And you can watch us on there. We'll be streaming for a considerable amount of time, at least the next 4 hours, I would guess.
Yes, and because I'm just playing Mario 64 over there, you will also have plenty of time to talk to us as well. Like we've got to actually have a flowing, meaningful conversation because this is recorded content, which is going to stay on the channel on Twitch. That's not the case. It's just more natural rather than so informed.
Two things that just quickly popped up before we switch on. Thank you very much, Lion Seeker, for dropping the link. The Amstrad PC is called the Mega PC.
That's what I said, didn't I?
No,
I don't think you said Mega PC.
You didn't say the name. You just said they created one.
I must just fault it.
And apparently there is also something called the Sega Terra Drive.
Sega Terra Drive. There's not one I'm familiar
Several
with.
people have said it, come up with that, and one of them said it's mental. So that's definitely worth.
That is definitely something that we're going to be.
Sorry,
researching.
I've got one more. I remember another one. Another cancelled Sega system, the Sega Tomahawk. Which was
That's a cool name to be fair.
Actually,
which was basically going to be a Mega Drive before the Mega Drive. It was going to be the Mega Drive, but distributed by Atari instead. So it was the Atari Mega Drive essentially. But it was before Sega had basically set up properly in America. So Atari was going to be the distributor at one point of the Mega Drive, I think.
What the actual F was Sega on about?
What do you mean?
Through their whole lifespan of releasing consoles.
Yeah,
like what they do. You developed that one. Give that one the name of a moon.
Sorry, it keeps going. Another one is coming to me. Another one's just come to me. Sorry. So many Sega consoles, so many cancelled projects. There's also a Sega PlayStation.
Is there?
Yeah.
That would make sense.
After
Nintendo pulled the plug.
Nintendo made Sony cry.
They tried to
They knocked on Sony's door and asked them to do it instead, and they were like, no.
You mean,
They are. Oh, Sega turned Sony down to it. Well,
so
that works out well for both of those companies.
Yeah. I can't... So, yeah.
So there we go. We're heading over now to twitch.tv/Top Hat Chat. Where we'll be on for at least the next 4 hours. Again, if you're watching this retrospectively, give us a follow and you can get updates on when we are going live in the future.
One more thing, because this is quite amusing. This video keeps going on, because I just keep thinking of fun factoids. The Sony PlayStation, one of the reasons Sega wasn't interested in doing it, apart from the fact that obviously they're Japanese, they're conservative, and they didn't want other companies having a cut of their money. They also hated the idea at the time of a 3D based games console. They preferred the Saturn architecture because it was better for making 2D games. They preferred 2D gaming. They didn't like the idea of going 3D where Sony wanted to go 3D.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Read that on our chat.
Someone else said it.
Awesome.
Are we going to mention the picture now before we move over?
Yeah, we will very, very quickly, and then we'll do a full one on Twitch as well. We have finally. It's taken us a little while to get this sorted out, but we have a picture here. Of a lovely gentleman. He is our one and only God tier patron. This is Stuart McDermott. We salute you, sir. He's the guy that we mention on the end of most of our videos now. And he is our God tier patron. If you're interested to know what that is, go and find us on Patreon. Patreon.com/Top Hat Chat, I think. If not, there will be a link.
So yes, all God tier patrons get to be with us in this video.
Yeah, and we'll find a permanent place, probably on the back of there.
Next to Billy Mitchell.
Yeah, so we'll sort that out. But thank you all for being here for this chat. It's been really, really lovely to have you here. I hope that you have been entertained by our ramblings on Sega consoles. Again, heading over to twitch.tv/Top Hat Chat now. We will see you next time. So thank you ever so much.
Cheerio!